She knelt on the ground, begging her son for forgiveness, but the man slapped her without a second thought. At 30, suddenly having a mother was something he simply couldn't accept. The woman followed him all the way home. As he was about to shut the door, she slid her hand into the doorframe. He didn't care in the slightest and slammed the door anyway. Even when her hand was caught, she refused to let go. He banged the door against her hand again and again, yet she still wouldn't release it. In the end, she forced her way into his room and without saying a word, began doing his housework. Kong-do was a debt collector, cold-blooded and ruthless, willing to use any means necessary to get the money back. If a debtor couldn't pay, he would drag them to an abandoned building, calculate the height, and force them to jump. A broken leg meant an insurance payout enough to cover the debt. The woman watched her son's cruelty in silence. When one man hesitated to jump, Kong-do shoved him off without hesitation and turned to threaten the woman. If she kept following him, she'd be pushed too, but she still trailed behind him. When Kong-do went down to check the man's injuries and decided they weren't bad enough for a payout, he picked up a rock and smashed it against the man's leg. The debtor cursed at Kong-do, and the woman stepped forward and kicked him twice. She wouldn't let anyone insult her son. For the first time in his life, someone had stood up for him, and a small spark of warmth lit up in Kong-do's heart. Every night, she stood outside his building. Over time, Kong-do grew used to her presence. Kong-do loved fish. One day, the woman brought him one, with a tag tied to it bearing her phone number. She left without saying a word. Kong-do didn't eat the fish. Instead, he bought a tank and kept it alive. That night, he couldn't resist calling her, wanting to confirm if she really was his mother. She didn't answer. She simply began singing a lullaby. Hearing movement outside his door, he opened it and found her sitting there. At last, he accepted her as his mother. The next morning, she killed the fish and made him breakfast. But Kong-do, who usually loved fish, didn't take a single bite. He left for work, pausing at the door to glance back at her. It was the first time anyone had made him breakfast. It warmed his heart. Watching him leave the fish untouched, the woman knew her plan was nearly complete. After that, they went shopping together. For the first time, Kong-do felt the warmth of family, growing more and more dependent on her. Until one day, a man grabbed Kong-do's mother. It was a debtor whose leg Kong-do had ruined. He wanted revenge, forcing Kong-do to pour gasoline over himself. Afraid the man would hurt his mother, Kong-do was about to comply. At that moment, the woman bit the man's hand hard. Kong-do seized the chance, hurled a throwing knife, and drove the man away. After that, Kong-do realized just how important she was to him, important enough to risk his life to protect her. Then one day, he got a frantic call from his mother, chaos in the background. He panicked. Just as he was about to ask who had taken her, the line went dead. It was all staged by the woman herself. Soon after, she sent him an address, luring him to the same abandoned building. When Kong-do arrived, he stood on the upper floor. She was pretending to be terrified. No one was threatening her at all. Kong-do dropped to his knees, begging the kidnapper to let her go. From above, the woman watched his anguish. She knew the time had come. Losing his mother shattered Kong-do. He remembered her once saying, "If I die, bury me beneath the small tree." When Kong-do dug under that tree, he finally learned the truth. She wasn't his real mother at all, but the mother of a debtor he had once destroyed. This was her revenge, to make him feel the agony of losing someone dear. Even knowing the truth, Kong-do could never free himself from the grief of losing her.